Trish, and I'm back with another project for you guys. Today I'm making a very cute small card that I like to put in my husband's lunchbox every once in a while. I like to surprise him with just little cards just to kind of brighten his day. But today my project is being featured over on the BRI blog as a guest designer, so I will have a link down in the description box below so that you can check out the blog, and on there there'll be a list of supplies that I used. But I'm starting out with some MFT super cute critter stamp set. I love this stamp set. This is the first time I'm getting around to using it, and I'm kind of upset about that, but it is what it is. So I've stamped it with some MFT hybrid ink, and I'm actually really loving this ink and that I can Copic color with it. But I've stamped out the little raccoon, and I'm just stamping it out on just some basic white cardstock. I believe this is Nina 65-pound cardstock. Nothing super heavy duty because it is getting layered up onto another panel. So I'm starting out with my cool grays, as you'll see here. I have them all with the caps up so that I don't forget what colors I used for you guys. But I've just gone over with my lightest color, and I've done a wash, and then I'm going darkest color, and I'm just adding in shading as I go along. I'm not going to bore you guys with all of the color names that I use because you can see them right there along the side. This one I did not show, but that pink is R20. It's my go-to color for blush on critters or people images. So I just put a little bit of that down while that ink was still, or the color was still wet, so that it could just naturally bleed and fade into the rest of the color. And now I'm going in with my darkest gray that I wanted to almost look black, but you can't obviously use black if you want to do shading. So I'm using my neutral grays for that, and I'm just applying that to the eye area and then also the tail. And you'll see a little bit later on I accidentally used N7 for a little bit more shading underneath the raccoon's chin area, under where his neck would be, and I totally meant to grab my C, I believe it was 7 or 5, but I just go back and I blend it out a little bit more, no big deal. So I'm going in with my cool grays again and using that as my lighter gray tone for his tail, and just really trying to make it look like the tail is really rounded, and so that's why I'm shading it the way that I am. But this critter was super easy to color, and it came along very quickly. There you just saw I put down N7. Whoops, no big deal. I just went back and fixed it and went over the color a little bit more to just, you know, correct it. And I went in with the correct color, which I believe was C5, around the areas that I wanted to be a little bit darker, and then softened it up a little bit with C0. But that was it. Super easy, quick to color. I love the way this critter turned out. And then I actually fussy cut him out with just a pair of scissors, and he used a Memento black marker to just color up the edges so that it looked really clean and crisp. So with my scratch paper that I still have, I'm taking that same pink color, which is R20, and I'm just scribbling along the bottom of it. I want to die cut some pieces from it, but I wanted to match the little cheeks on the raccoon. So I am now using MFT's Blueprints Tag Builder number 3 die set. This is my first builder set from MFT, and I am really loving it and thinking about investing in more of them because there's just so many great elements on this die set. So I'm using the little stitched tag part of it on some just dark gray cardstock, and you'll see here that I cut it through once all the way, and then this second time that I'm running it through my Cuttlebug, I'm actually only partially die cutting it because I want to create a little card, but I wanted to use this as the base for my card. So I didn't want to cut out, and I had a little trouble with it, of course. Always happens when I'm on camera. But I wanted to cut the back panel, and I wanted to have a little bit taller so that I could cut the top and use it to create the flap of my card, the opening of my card. So you'll see that a little bit later on. So the last thing I need to die cut while I have my Cuttlebug out is the little strip of small hearts, and that's why I wanted to use that pink color. And so I just die cut that out, and I'll be using that on the front panel of my card, which you'll see here in a moment. So here's that back portion that I showed you guys that I only partially die cut, and you'll see that I went a little bit higher, and then I just scored the top of it and folded it over so that I could create the card portion, the card base for my card. Gosh, I wish I could figure out what I wanted to say today. Anyways, so I wanted to stamp the sentiment on the inside and just leave the raccoon on the outside. So I've prepped my cardstock with the eCake Success powder tool, and I'm stamping the sentiment "You Stole My Heart" with some Versamark ink, and I'm using the Ranger Superfine Detail in white to heat emboss that. And you'll see here in a moment after I have heat set it. I really like this embossing powder because it's super crisp, and I've had really good results with it, so it's definitely a winner in my book. So I'm just applying some snail adhesive and attaching both portions of it, so now you actually get the concept of what I was trying to say. It's now a card. And I wanted the raccoon on the front, but it was really just way too plain, and that's why I die cut out those little pink hearts. You'll see here that I'll grab out my T-square ruler and I'll use it to really just line up where I'm applying the hearts. And I just used some glossy accents to apply the hearts. I was thinking about using glue dots, but these hearts are actually a little bit too small and the glue dots are a little bit bigger. So I just went with some glossy accents. And then I'm going to use some foam adhesive to attach my raccoon. I apologize for the camera swinging all kinds of which ways. I'm pretty sure my daughter was up at this point, was opening drawers left and right in the cabinet that hold my tripod. So I felt like the front was still a little bit too plain, so I went ahead and I die cut, I went ahead and I used some baker's twine up at the top just to add a little bit more interest, and it was still a little bit too plain. And even though this card is for my husband in his lunchbox, and I wouldn't normally put sequins on because I feel like some people might think they're a little too girly, I felt like it really just completed the card and tied it together. And it wasn't like they were super sparkly, they were just clear sequins. So I just went with it, no big deal. I could draw a stick figure on a card for him and he'd love it regardless. So So yeah, so once I was done with that, I felt like there was still something missing on the front, so I just took a white gel pen and created another faux stitch line around the front, and that completes my little mini card for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to check out the description box down below for a list of supplies used on this and also a direct link to the BRI blog. And I will see you guys in the next video.